related to effeminate gay men. And you have a special word for that. Would you please say that?
Correct. The term is called effemiphobia.
Effemiphobia. And that's what happens when effeminate gay men are ostracized or shunned. Is that correct?
Correct. It is when effeminate gay men are ostracized by other gay men within the LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, it's within the gay community.
Correct. It can also be used to explain feelings of negativity towards effeminate gay men by outer communities, but my research specifically focused within the LGBTQ plus community.
And wow, that's fascinating. And do you find that it's internalized oppression too?
Very much so. It is an kind of outward expression of the internalized feelings that gay men feel towards their own sense of effeminacy and their own sense of being able to freely display who they are. That kind of manifests itself into negative interactions that they may or may not or may have with other gay men.
Okay, so I'm going to just stay on this for a minute before we go into your background. Uh, is the behavior, because it is a behavior, is that something people learn, they feel? Where does it come from?
So generally where it comes from is the socialization that we get as children, associating certain things being associated with certain genders and certain physical presentations. So the understanding that boys are supposed to wear blue, for example, or that boys are supposed to like G.I. Joe versus liking Barbie, and that if you engage in anything that is perceived to be assigned to women or is considered to be assigned to femininity, you are transgressing that behavior. And oftentimes, what would be done, especially in the past generations, would be that these individuals would be punished and told that they need to act in the quote unquote correct way that aligns with their particular gender. So it has manifested itself into people's understandings that boys are supposed to act a certain way, girls are supposed to act a certain way. And if a boy acts in a way that is considered to be effeminate, the automatic reaction is we have to punish that behavior because it means that they are transgressing the supposed gender presentation. The way it kind of manifests itself a little bit differently within the LGBTQ plus community and specifically within the gay male community is that it becomes a way of identifying someone's sexual orientation, because many people automatically assume that if you act in an effeminate way, you are therefore a member of the LGBTQ community or a gay man. So you'll have gay men who don't want their sexual orientation to be present or announced in the world. So they will prevent themselves from being around effeminate men as a way of being able to announce their sexual orientation. And that has its own implications in how we interact with each other within the community.
So you're saying there are some gay men who shun effeminate gay men because they're afraid of that association. I'm not getting.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that you will see gay men shunning other gay men because of fear of association. So, for example, if they want to appear to the world as being a quote unquote typical straight acting or masculine presenting gay male, they will avoid associations and friendships and interactions with effeminate presenting gay men as to not cause that question about their own sexuality from other people.
I see. And I'm assuming that's hurtful.
Extremely hurtful is extremely hurtful from an individual as well as a macro or larger community perspective. From an individual perspective, it becomes hurtful in the fact that you modulate yourself in a variety of different social situations just out of both safety and also out of trying to be a part of various different communities, especially given the fact that that often doesn't align with the messages that the LGBTQ plus community often will put out there, that we are affirming, we are welcoming. And so that creates an individual confusion in that you say it's okay for me to be myself, but then when I'm around others who are supposedly like me, I'm still being asked to modulate myself. So, from an individual perspective, that can be very harmful. From a community perspective, my argument is that it's even more harmful because it's preventing a marginalized community from coming together. Because it's like we already have to deal with the ways in which we are perceived on the outside from other individuals who don't share our sexual orientation or our gender presentations and identities, to now having to do and deal with infighting within our community because individuals want to maintain perceived heterosexual privilege, perceived masculine privilege, and things of that nature. And then that prevents us from working on common issues that we all deal with when people know our sexual orientation identity.
Whoa. So, do you have any idea what percentage of gay men are now in the closet? Do you have
Um,
any?
Unfortunately, I don't have a